Welcome to 10-Minute Tarot. The intention of this series of videos is to provide you with all the tools that you'll need in order to enrich and to enhance your tarot studies. The first part of this series is entitled A Walk Through the Major Arcana. Each video that follows this particular part will be addressing cards of the Major Arcana, the various correspondences, how to use them, some suggestions of also some spreads that you might want to use, and just in general, familiarizing yourselves with the nuances that are held within those cards in particular. The second part of the series, which will probably happen sometime a little later this year, will be incorporating the minor arcana, and then we'll also have some different videos that I'm going to interject in here that will bring together and coalesce some of the other disciplines that we use in our magical and our spiritual practices, such as astrology, Qabalah, geometry, numerology, some of those other pieces that when you put all of these little pieces of the puzzle together gives you a much richer and a much more informed practice. So today what I'd like to do for our very first session of this series is take you on a journey to know thyself. Now, this also is another name that I'm giving to what is traditionally called the Fool's Journey. I'm using this name, A Journey to Know Thyself. And what I'm going to be doing is take you through the cards, the 21 cards of the Major Arcana, using you in the place of the Fool, the 0 card. And we're going to take a little exercise in moving through each of those cards and what that narrative may look like. Now remember, that narrative is going to change each time you approach the deck and each time you approach those cards. So today, what we're going to do is just a little narrative. I'm going to tell you a little story. We're going to see how all of the cards could possibly, remember this is always potentials that has many outcomes, could possibly relate to one another. And then in the videos that will follow this, we're going to take a look at each of the cards individually. So take a nice deep breath. If you happen to have a tarot deck with you, then pull out the cards of the Major Arcana. Pause this until you have them all pulled out. And if you want to follow along with me, I'm going to be talking through and guiding you through the cards 0 through 21. Take a nice deep breath and let's get started. The journey to know thyself is much like any other journey that we may take during the course of our lifetime. We begin this journey in a place of perfect love and perfect trust. It is in this place that we give no mind and no heed to what it is that we have left behind. For we reach and we stretch and we look forward and we are enthusiastic. But in that enthusiasm, we often take missteps here and there, hoping that whenever those missteps occur and we've somehow missed the curb, that what we step off onto will be something that will support us. This thought gives us hope. And in this thought of hope, we know and we feel that all that we are and all that we are capable of doing comes to us from a place that is higher within ourselves, and also a place that must be anchored and rooted in what we know. For this is, after all, a journey of corporeal existence, of manifest existence that we are having. We weave our way through life's circumstances, and as we weave, we find that there is also that place within us that seeks the polarity of what was the magic that is within us that moves with force, and seeks the polarity and the beauty of what is within us that will give that force form, structure, and the ability to have authority over ourselves. When this realization comes into our perspective, we become fertile, we become full. All that surrounds us is blooming and vibrant. All that surrounds us is in support and in encouragement of how we can love one another and how we can love ourselves. In order to learn those lessons, however, we must also take the authority that is the polarity, that authority which is within us, where we are keeper of our own destinies, where we are able to both make judgment and make call, but also able to show mercy. For we are also our own spirit, our own spiritual advisor. It is within ourselves that we find the keys of opening that connect us always to what is the divine and the higher nature from whence we came. When this realization opens the door and opens that exchange between our divine selves, we can stand in the place of the lovers, loving ourselves, showing love and care to others, and most importantly, loving those places within us that are both masculine and feminine, force and form, light and dark, and all the polarities that are held within our existence and our being. In this mastery, we become the Charioteer. All those things that we have carried forward from this lifetime, all of those lessons, we bring back victorious. And although at times it may seem as though we are inert and not moving, we are always mindful of the strength that we have, the dominion that we have over those aspects and parts of ourselves that are not always in alignment with where and who we should be at any given time. This is the place where the gentle hand soothes the chaos that is held within us, the need to just lash out, or the need to run away, or the need to entirely obliterate and consume something that is actually for our higher nature. But these lessons are hard won, and even though the gentle hand prevails, we must also be willing to go into our space of contemplation, of reflection, move into that place within us that becomes the hermit. This hermit within us is not the one who turns away from adversity and challenge, but this is the one who carries the light forward. And in that carrying it forward, all is revealed. We become as the four holy creatures. We become as the ascended lion. We become as the ascended man. We become as the eagle that soars, and we become as the ascended bull that can stand and hold its ground. In this place, and recognizing all of these things, justice prevails, because we are the keepers and the holders of what holds us back and what limits us. This knowledge itself will at times appear to turn ourselves upside down. But in this aspect and in this place of being able to submerge ourselves fully into the manifest world, while still wearing the crown of glory, the mantle of light that is held within. The death that follows is one that is necessary, for it is the place of initiation, of rebirth, and of regrowth. Temperance is needed so that we do not discard and throw away all of those things that are of benefit to our learning and to our teaching. And at times, those polarities within that we work so hard to achieve in the place of the lovers become tied and chained to what we consider to be a baser nature. But this is only the place where we are able to finally see and finally allow the awakening of our consciousness. This awakening moves through us, cracks the shell of impermanence, cracks the shell of who we have believed ourselves to be, wide open. And those places within us that serve us no longer fall to a ground. And what is built from this becomes the cosmic connection. We are enabled to become naked and vulnerable in the starries, in the waters, in our emotional self, in all the ways that will bring us to a place of wholeness and completion. The moon shines above, and in its nature, we howl at it in our form that is raw and new and just becoming. But we also claim the victory of the innocence of the child that moves, radiant, resplendent in the glory of its own knowing. And at this point, where judgment would normally take hold within us, we are able to be uplifted. We are able to turn aside all that has no longer served us, to stand again naked and vulnerable, surrounded by the four holy creatures, encased in the glory and the beauty of the perfect love and perfect trust that began our journey as the Fool.